What? Oh, hey! How are you? Hope you're doing all right. My name is Nick. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel or my Patreon page, wherever you're watching this video. Thank you. Subscribe, follow, all that stuff. Like, leave your comments, all that shit you're supposed to do. And if you're on Patreon, here's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to donate money. That's how it works at Patreon. If you're cool, you donate money. If you're the kind of guy that watches PBS or the kind of woman that watches PBS and then you don't donate, no tote bag for you. And it'll be heavy on your conscience. So you need to donate right now. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Patreon.com/NickDShow. Pick a tier, 5, 6, 25 bucks a month. Donate, and it helps me keep things going. All the stuff that I provide is free. So donate, and there are some bonus videos that are at Patreon, so donate your money now at patreon.com/NickDShow. Check me out on radiomisfits.com. I've got 2 podcasts there. The Nick D Podcast, which is my long-running, very fun podcast with my co-host Esmeralda Leon, where we talk about life and pop culture and food and all kinds of cool stuff, and I review the movies as a movie critic officially, and I talk about TV and books and wrestling and all kinds of, all great stuff. It's very, very fun. It's pop culture and entertainment related, very much like what I used to do on a certain radio station. Twice a week, Tuesday, Friday, brand new episodes. So you should subscribe right now. It is also free, radiomisfits.com. My second podcast is called That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years, an SNL podcast, and it's all about Saturday Night Live, the greatest sketch comedy show of all time. If you are a fan of Saturday Night Live and you are not subscribed to this podcast, there's something really, really wrong with you. So you need to subscribe absolutely right now. That Show Hasn't Been Funny in Years. New episodes every Wednesday. Dive deep into the world of Saturday Night Live. All 48 seasons covered. We have guests. We don't have guests. We have great things, and we play back audio. It's fantastic. SNL fans, subscribe now. All of that stuff is at radiomisfits.com. And you can hear me on Fridays on the Steve Cochran Show. Morning drive between 5:30 a.m. and 9 o'clock on WLS, the Big 89. 89, man, the Big 89. 890 a.m. WLS. You can hear me on Fridays reviewing movies and hanging out as their official movie critic. And I am a movie critic and all that cool stuff. But in addition to being a movie critic, and a lot of these videos that I do, I talk about movies, because, I've only been doing that for like 37 years. But I also like to go to concerts, and I'm a big music fan and all that stuff. And I went to a concert over the weekend. And it was fun. It was a great time. I went, the girl that I'm really good friends with, been hanging out with, and I think she's awesome. And, we knew each other in the 80s, and now we know each other again now. And she's like, hey, I got some tickets to Foreigner and Loverboy. Would you like to go? I was like, yeah. And then there were also people in this group that were coming that I hadn't seen in many, many years. So it was going to be great. It was going to be people that I hadn't seen since, Loverboy was popular in the 80s. And we were all going to go together. It was at Tinley Park, which is, not the greatest venue in the world. The hell's it called? Credit Union 1 Pavilion Village, whatever the fuck it's called. It's been like 12 different names since it opened at the World Music Theater. It was the World, it was the Tweeter Center, the World Music Theater, the Tweeter Center, the Hollywood Casino Village. Now it's like I don't know. It's had like 4 or 5 names, but it's called like Credit Union 1 Pavilion. Anyway, it's the outdoor questionable venue in Tinley Park. And so we go. And, there's a threat of thunderstorms all night, and it did rain on us a bit. There was a period of time where we had to put stuff on our heads and stuff like that. But it was great to hang out with my friend Julie, who I've been hanging out with lately, and some people I hadn't seen for a while. There were other people that I had not seen in like many, many years. And we went, and it was great. And the crowd was mostly older people. I mean, if you're going to go see Foreigner, which is, by the way, their big farewell tour. Foreigner's big farewell tour. Now, I know a lot of bands do this. They do farewell tours, I don't know, every couple of years. They do a farewell tour. I think Kiss has done approximately 63 farewell tours that they've announced. And a lot of the older bands and the old like metal bands and the hard rock bands and the classic rock bands from the 60s and 70s, their farewell tours are still going on, and they started in 2005, and they're still doing their farewell tours. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be Foreigner's farewell tour. I have no idea. But anyway, this is a big final Foreigner farewell tour. And Loverboy was opening. Big bad motherfucking Loverboy, led by the great Mike Reno. And I was like, okay, let's go back, shall we, to the 80s and to the 70s when Foreigner first kicked in. And we go there, and it's cool, it's great. We've got lawn chairs, it's nice. We sit down on the lawn, it's lovely. They've got big screens on the lawn now, so you can watch the screens, you can see the stage. It's kind of far away, but you can check out the stage. And the sound is not as bad as it used to be on the lawn, because it used to be really bad at the Tweeter Center of the World, or whatever it was called back then. They didn't have the big screens, really, and the sound just did not get out to the lawn. But now, you can hear it perfectly. It's nice and loud. The sound's not bad. the sightlines are kind of shitty, and everything is, you know, expensive as fuck. When you go to concerts now, it's a good thing I don't drink anymore. I think it was like $19 for like a beer, like a tall boy beer or something. Like they were charging like $23 for like some sort of vodka drink, you know. And then it was, oh, it's only a $19 refill. Wow, thank you. Jeez, a $19 refill on my vodka drink. Anyway, so, but you know, so you know, it's a concert. Parking is a lot of fun, and you walk, and there's people drunk and whatever. It's an outdoor concert in Tinley Park, and that place has always been kind of a pain in the ass to get out of, to park. And it used to be like awful. You know, if you didn't have a good seat, it was like, well, why am I even here? But it's changed a little bit. They've improved the lawn a little bit, but it's still not the best place to see a concert. But, you know, hey, so we go, and I'm excited. I'm a big Loverboy fan. I'm also a big Foreigner fan. Loverboy, I love that band. I love Loverboy. I love them. You know, I remember going to see them in 1982 on the Get Lucky tour. Yeah, man. May of 1982. The opening band was Frankie and the Knockouts. Remember Frankie and the Knockouts? Sweetheart, who loved you from the start. Oh, you remember that? Not another lonely night. No more lonely day. Yeah, man. Fucking Frankie and the Knockouts. They were the opening act. Yeah, I went with one of my first girlfriends who was considerably older than me, and it was weird. But anyway, and I saw Loverboy for the Get Lucky tour. Get Lucky, one of the greatest like early 80s like FM rock, you know, albums of all time. And I love Loverboy. I love their first album. And then through like the mid 80s, they were great. They were a great band. They really slick production, and they wrote great sort of like pop rock, you know, songs. And like as they got into the 80s a little bit more, they were more keyboard driven and more very slick 80s production with like electronic drums and shit like that. Because that was at that time, that's all you did. But those first couple albums were great. And Get Lucky, man, you know, Get Lucky is one of the greatest album covers of all time because it's got like Mike Reno, the lead singer. Mike Reno, who always wore headbands and shit. And on the cover of the album, he wore like tight red leather pants because that's what you did in 1981. You walked around like a jag-off wearing tight red leather pants. And the cover of the album was a close-up of Mike Reno's ass covered in tight red leather with his fingers crossed for good luck behind him on his ass because he wants to get lucky. Yeah, Mike Reno with his tight red leather pants talking to a chick, hoping he gets fucked, getting laid, puts his little fingers behind his back, right? So it's his red leather-clad ass with his fingers crossed going, yeah, man, am I going to get lucky? Are you going to get lucky? Woo! You know, and then they had a lot of hits. They had, like, you know, obviously Working for the Weekend. And, you know, I mean, a ton of other hits. Hot Girls in Love and just, you know, a ton of hits. And I love them. I saw them in 1982 and they were fantastic. And so they opened the show. They come out and they open the show. And Mike Reno, he's eaten some sandwiches. Let's just say that. He's eaten a significant amount. He's eaten some food since 1982. Like a lot of food. And now he's an older dude, and you gain weight when you're older. I'm a fat fuck now. I'm in my late 50s, and I got a belly. I'm a fat fuck. But, like, Mike's been eating. And I think he's in his 60s. He'd be in his 60s now at this point. And, you know, you get older, you gain weight. That's what happens. And God bless him. But, yeah, I mean, he came out and it was like, whoa! Wow, Mike, there's a lot of you. But he still got the goddamn, you know, bandana. He's still got the trademark Mike Reno headband, 80s, you know, bandana on his head. He has a lot less hair now, and the bandana's a little bit bigger because it's got to cover the receding hairline. But, yeah, but he came out. He weighs, I don't know, close to 280, maybe? So he's a big dude. He's a big old dude. And then all the other guys, they were all the original band members. They all came out. They're all like in their 60s and they're older and they all got gray hair. I was a little concerned about the drummer because at one point he climbed up on his drum kit to like do like a weird solo on a very tiny cymbal and a cowbell and stuff. And I was like, oh, take it. Somebody help him. I was very concerned because like the drummer's like, these guys are in their 60s, man. You know, they can't jump around. I mean, he didn't even have his leather pants on. Mike Reno can't even fit into leather pants anymore. I don't even know if he can cross his fingers. I think his fingers might be a little bit too fat to cross the finger. I don't even know if he can get his hand behind his back anymore. He's a big dude. He's a big old, big, round, puffy dude now. He didn't even have the leather pants on. He can't wear leather pants anymore. But this guy, the drummer, I was like, man, whoa, don't climb up on the drum. Man, is somebody going to assist this man? I was concerned for the man's safety and health. And, you know, so anyway, they're old, all right, but they come out, and it's all the original guys. These are the original band members. These are the guys that I saw on stage in 1982. 41 fucking years ago, I saw these guys, these very guys, on stage. And there's Mike Reno, 42 years later, and he's a happy as motherfucker, man, smiling, having a great time. Yeah, Chicago, let's run. And he's doing like, yeah, you know, he's screaming. The guy was very happy to be there. And he was a big, old, big, round, fat dude who used to wear leather pants and cross his fingers and go, let's get laid. And now he's like a big old dude. He's a grandparent running around. And it was awesome. And the old guy, the guy playing guitar, you know, they were all gray haired. It was great. I felt like I was in my element. I was like, all right. And they played all the goddamn hits. So Loverboy comes out, man, hit after hit after tasty fucking hit. They come out. And they're old, and Mike Reno weighs like 6,000 pounds, and the drummer, I was concerned because he was climbing on. Don't climb up there. Don't do that. You're going to break a hip. So Loverboy was great. They played all their hits. They sounded great. Mike Reno, he may be old, and he may be a little, you know, he may have eaten a bunch of sandwiches and some Twinkies and shit, but he can still hit the notes. He was still, you know, his voice is fucking, he's got a great rock voice. He's got a great, like, early 80s fucking rock pop voice. And it's still there, man. I don't care if he weighs, you know, if he's like 70 now and he weighs 900 pounds. Who gives a shit? The guy can still sing. The guy can still play guitar. The other guy can play bass. The other guy can play keyboards. The drummer, he played drums. I was a little concerned about him climbing on shit. I gotta tell you. I'm like, no, don't do that. Yeah, I think that's against the rule. You're gonna kick you out of AARP if you do that, dude. You can't be climbing on drum kits and shit. So, besides my concern for the drummer, it was fantastic. And it was great. It was fun, and we were all, you know, we all knew the songs, and I knew them more than. But I will say this: all the people that were there, I was there with 6 other people. I think 5 other people. Was it 5 other? Yeah, 5 other people. I think, or 6 other. I don't know. It was a big group of us. 5 of us. 5 other people besides me. And I knew Loverboy the best because I was like, because when we were going there, I was like, we got to get there. I don't want to miss Loverboy because Loverboy started the show at 7. And I was like, I don't want to miss Loverboy, man. I mean, you know, I was excited about a Foreigner, of course, but I was like, nah, Loverboy. And so everybody was like kind of mocking me, like, you're more excited about Loverboy than Foreigner? I'm like, yeah, I'm more excited about Loverboy than motherfucking Foreigner. Shut up. So, and they kicked ass. They were great. So then there's a break. And oh, by the way, so it's Foreigner's farewell tour, and they had. Okay, let me just say that the crowd was significantly older than most concerts that you go to. I mean, I'm 58 years old, and I was around the median age. I mean, there were some younger people there and a couple of kids, but it was mostly people. It was a solid, you know, like 50 and up crowd. Let's say 40 and up crowd, okay? So it was an older crowd. And a lot of us were just kind of sitting, you know, we're like, I'm not going to jump around like an asshole. I'm fucking 58 years old. Blow it out your ass, you know? So the crowd was a little bit older, but I also, they did not help, you know, dispelling the myth that it's old people rock, because like they had, and I'm not making this up, they had like a charity thing that was happening where they were going to give away a signed guitar. All the members of Foreigner were going to sign it and give it away. They were going to give it away tonight, so you can buy raffle tickets. And the people that were selling the raffle tickets, first of all, it's a raffle ticket. You're buying a raffle ticket at a rock concert in 2023. You don't do that. Did they sell raffle tickets to Taylor Swift? I don't think so. Were people like selling raffle tickets? And I don't think so, right? So I'm at a concert where, you know, these guys have been around for like, there's a couple of these bands. One of the bands has been around for like 50 years, and they're walking around selling raffle tickets. But the people who were selling the raffle tickets were fucking Shriners. So they had a bunch of guys who were like in their 60s walking around with the fez on, dressed like Shriners, selling raffle tickets. And so I was like, this is not going to help the reputation of like, this is an old people band and an old people crowd when you got like 60-year-old dudes walking around with fezzes on selling raffle tickets for a guitar giveaway at a major concert venue where, you know, I don't know. Anyway, but it didn't help. At least they weren't driving around in little fucking cars. At least I would have loved it if the Shriners with their little fezzes on selling their stupid raffle tickets to 70-year-old people. If they were driving around in little cars, that would have made it better. If the Shriners were driving around that would have been fantastic. But they weren't. Unfortunately, the Shriners were walking. But it was still guys with fezzes on in their 60s selling. So, yeah. So the crowd is like, you know, the median age is 50. That is absolutely. And you got Shriners with fezzes on walking around. And before Loverboy came out, they had a high school vocal a cappella band come out that won a that won a local contest. It was like some high school in the southern Chicago suburbs, and they won, so they got to sing in front of the gathering 70-year-old crowd. These are high school kids who probably don't even know what the fuck Foreigner and Loverboy is, and look at everybody in the audience and they're like, why are we singing for these old ass people who are buying? Why are those guys wearing weird hats and selling raffle tickets? So this group of high school a cappella singers who are opening up for Foreigner and Loverboy are probably just like, where are we? What the fuck is a Foreigner? What is a Loverboy? That dude backstage who weighs 600 pounds, he's the lead singer of the band? What's with the headband? What's going on with this guy? So I'm sure that it was culture shock for these like 17, 16, and 18-year-olds on stage doing a cappella songs for a bunch of 60-year-olds who are complaining about $22 beers and buying raffle tickets from people in Fez. It was just surreal. I'm sure the kids on stage were like, what the fuck did I lose a bet? This is a prize? So anyway, they came out, they said they were lovely, it was great, and they did great, they did the a cappella numbers, and people, old people are like going, yeah, I mean, they weren't, I'm sure, like, the assholes at, like, some young concert, they'd be like, get off the fucking stage, they'd yell at them, but we were like, oh, look at the lovely children, and I'm sure that there were people going, that's my grandchild, I'll buy a raffle ticket from you, Fez man, Alright, so they come out, and then Loverboy comes out, it's startling to see Mike Reno come out, weighing like 10 grand, and that's startling, and to see they're all old, and I was concerned about the drummer, but they were great. Hit after hit after hit, they did Take Me to the Top, they did Working for the Weekend, they did all the Hot Girls in Love, they did all that fucking fantastic shit. And they were great. Mike Reno can still sing, and I loved it. Nostalgia, memories came flooding back. I felt like I was 17 again, It was fantastic. So I felt like I was Charlie Schlatter, switching bodies with George, man, oh man, did I just date myself, with George Burns. Does anybody get that reference? I'm Charlie Schlatter, but I'm really George Burns. Inside me is really an old guy, George. All right, anyway. All right, so then Foreigner. All right, so the big, Foreigner. It's their farewell tour. My God, it's a Foreigner. Some of the albums that they released in the 70s and into the early 80s are pretty fucking great. That first Foreigner album, one of the greatest debut rock albums of all time. Double Vision, great. Head Game's great. Agent Provocateur, great. Foreigner 4, fantastic. And then after that, it gets a little... By the late 80s, I was done with Foreigner. But from like 77 to about 86-ish, they were pretty badass. They were great. Mick Jones, Lou Gramm. Mick Jones, who formed the band, fantastic guitar player, great musician, incredible producer, great songwriter. Lou Gramm, tremendous songwriter, unbelievable vocalist. Like really, truly one of the most powerful and great rock vocalists of all time. Classic rock vocal fucking royalty. None of those guys are in the band anymore. Now, Mick Jones is with the band. This is their farewell tour. Is with the band, but he only appears sporadically on the tour. He's old. He's in his 70s at this point, and I think his health is a little shaky because he's in his fucking 70s, and so he is not appearing on the full tour. And he was not, and I heard he was going to be in Tinley Park. I heard that he was going to be there. I heard Mick Jones was, he's only appearing in a few shows for the farewell schedule, and one of them was going to be in Chicago. And they take the stage, and Mick Jones does not walk out, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And in fact, there was not one original member of Foreigner in the band. Not one. So essentially, these guys come out, and essentially, I realize as the first song kicks in, if I remember correctly, I think they opened with Cold as Ice. I don't even remember, but they could have been Cold as Ice. They come out, and I'm like, there's not one fucking original member in this band. Loverboy, every single band member on that stage was original. Mike Reno comes out weighing 700 pounds. He can't wear leather pants anymore. And he came out there and rocked the fucking house with his great vocals. And they did all the fucking hits. And it's the original dudes from 40 years ago on stage rocking their old asses off. And then these guys come out, Foreigner comes out, and I'm like, there's not one fucking member. There is nobody in the band who's from Foreigner. I mean, these are people who have been with Foreigner, like the lead singer. I'll get to him in a minute. The lead singer and a couple of the other guys have been with the band since like the mid-2000s. It's like this idiot lead singer, Kelly Hansen. He's been with the band since 2005. But you know what? Who was listening to Foreigner in 2005? Who the fuck voluntarily bought Foreigner records in 2000? And all these guys who were on stage had been in the band. Either they got in the band around 2005 or 2006 or like as late as like 2010 or 2015. These fucking guys, you know, a lot of them were older. They were definitely, like, these guys were in their 50s or older, but they were not original Foreigner members at all. They had been in other bands and, you know, elsewhere. And one guy, the bass player, was with Dokken. He played with fucking Dokken. So we're talking about these B-level, you know, musicians who would go in and out of bands in the 80s, like metal bands and hair bands and really stupid rock metal bands in the 80s. And not one of the motherfucking people on stage was an original member of Foreigner. The longest tenured was the lead singer, who had been there since 2005. Nobody listened to Foreigner in 2005 or since. You know what I mean? When Lou Gramm leaves the band, when the band breaks up and they start, you know, you don't, if you are like 19 years old and you buy a fucking Foreigner album in 2005, or in fact, if you're 40 years old, like I was in 2005, I was 40 in 2005. So I didn't buy in 2005, the last time, if you go back in time, I turned 40 in 2005, and you asked me, what was the last Foreigner album you bought? I'd go, maybe Agent Provocateur in 1986. In 2005, you don't even remember the last time you don't even remember the last time you listened to Foreigner. And these guys are like, yeah, we've been in the band, you know, they've been in the band 18 years, but they've been in the band when the band was a has-been band. When they got in the band, they were already a fucking novelty act. So nobody from the original band is there. And so the first song kicks in, I look at the stage, I'm like, this is a Foreigner tribute band. This isn't fucking Foreigner. And I'm looking around, I'm like, you know, I'm trying, and the people that I was with, they were having a great time, but they were like, yeah, this is not Foreigner. There was not one original member. Mick Jones was not there. Lou Gramm famously had a big falling out with Mick Jones, and he left. Lou Gramm tours on his own and does Foreigner songs. I would suggest you see him. He's playing, I think, the Des Plaines Theater in November. Go see Lou Gramm, because he's still got the pipes, and, you know, and he's an original member. At least he's an original member of Foreigner. There was not one fucking original member of Foreigner on that band. And they were older dudes who were like working musicians who worked in hair bands in the 80s. So they were a tribute band. We were essentially, you know, people paid $125, $200 for seats to see a fucking Foreigner tribute band. They were a glorified Foreigner tribute band. They should have been playing the fucking Ramada. Like, what is... Now, they sounded great. They knew the songs really well. But you know what? The Zeppelin tribute band Presence, they know the songs too. They know the songs really well too, and they sound great. But I'm not going to pay $200 to see them in Tinley Park when I could pay a $10 cover charge at some fucking bar in Peoria, you know, and see them. It's the same goddamn thing. It was a glorified tribute band that people paid $200 to see and are now donating money to Shriners, you know. So they came out, and all right. Rock, you know, like the front man, the front man of in rock bands. There are a lot of really bad cliches that frontmen and lead singers do, and there are a lot of really bad rock and roll cliches that you do at a concert. Okay, and this was like this Foreigner tribute band was like watching the fucking worst amalgamation and collection of horrible, stale, laughable, ridiculous motherfucking rock concert cliches. And this guy, this fucking Kelly Hansen guy, who's the lead singer, who's been with the band since 2005, so he's been with the band for 18 years, but he's still not an original member. He's not a member of fucking Foreigner, okay? This guy who has been with, he's Rudy Sarzo is one of his friends. Rudy Sarzo, guitarist for Quiet Riot. He was in a band called Hurricane, this guy in the 80s, and hair band shit. He worked a little bit with Slash's Snake Pit, and he worked with Don Dokken. And this fucking guy, who was, I believe, like 60 years old, 61 years old. He comes out, he's wearing red leather pants, okay? And he's got long hair. And this guy, this Kelly Hansen guy, the most cliched, worst fucking lead singer frontman I've ever... Did every cliched, laughable fucking thing that you do. Like, how's everybody doing tonight? Like, I mean, that's acceptable. But this guy, and in between songs, he would not shut the fuck up. He would make speeches like, how many of you over 40? Well, I think some of you are over 50. It's it, you know, like, and then like, everybody put your hands up and hug the person next to you. He's like, his banter is every fucking tired, used, ridiculous, hilariously awful parody of banter that a lead singer does. Yeah, everybody hug and yeah, thank you, Chicago, Illinois, Tinley Park. And he would not shut the fuck up. He's giving speeches, and they had like an acoustic part where they all sit down. They go, yeah, man, we actually, let me tell you something right now. We do acoustics. None of this shit on tape. We don't do nothing, you know. And then he's going off about like, we're a real band, man. And he's making speeches, like really fucking ridiculous speeches about how we don't record anything, man. These mics are live, man. Nothing's on tape, nothing's recorded. We're playing these instruments, man. Like taking a stand. This guy's not taking a stand about lip syncing. Who gives a fuck? So they'd have this acoustic part where they all like, the band comes down, they're all like buddies, you know. And then Kelly Hansen, the fucking worst, most ridiculous, stereotypical lead singer I've ever seen in my fucking life, who will not shut the fuck up between songs. And, you know, instead of like, you know, just quickly introducing a song, he'll do 15 minutes of the kind of stale. It was at one point I leaned over to Julie and I said, this is like, I can't believe this is not a Jerry Lewis telethon. Like it felt like that. It felt like that artificial, like old show busy bullshit. Hey man, if you all make me feel real good, give it up for yourself. Yeah, hug the person next to you. I'm not kidding. This motherfucker did every ridiculous, laughable cliche you could possibly. Yeah, everybody put your hand in. Are you 40? Yeah, we're all over 40. You know. And then he's like, the acoustic thing, he sits down, he starts talking about how real they are. Like, shut the fuck up. Just shut up and do the songs. And then they did, he's like, I wrote this one. So nobody gave a fuck because it was a song that was written in 2007. Who the fuck cares about songs that Foreigner wrote in 2007? We want to hear the shit they wrote in 1978, dumbass. And then the band, they're all like, yeah. And then they're like doing wacky jokes with each other, like, hey, we've been together now for so many years. Like, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You know, people were drunk and they were like, yeah, you know, people in the audience, yeah. And this motherfucker would not shut up. Every goddamn stupid lead singer thing, he's running around the stage. At one point, he bends over and spreads his ass cheek. Yeah, spreads his ass cheeks. And they had like, they had like pyro on stage, and also they had like these things on stage that would blow smoke up, and he would stick his ass in the smoke and go, yeah, point at his ass, yeah, you know. And then like, because there were cameras, you know, following him around on stage for the people on the lawn, he would like look at the camera and like sing into the camera, and then like take the mic stand and go, yeah, and jam the mic stand, yeah, man, working the camera, working the crowd. It was hilarious. It was hilarious, but also it got to the point where I was like, shut your fucking mouth with your bullshit cliched banter and play a motherfucking song. And it went on forever. And then when they came back for their encore, they come back for the encore because they hadn't played Hot Blooded yet, and they hadn't played I Want to Know What Love Is yet. Okay? So of course we know that those are going to be the last two songs because they've gone, even the set list was total cliches. I mean, just like the set. This was by rote. These fucking guys, they should have been playing a goddamn Hampton Inn. They really, seriously. These guys should have been in the basement of a fucking Hampton Inn charging $10. Like, they were really, you know, they played the Foreigner songs really well. But it was a fucking Foreigner tribute band. It was a cover band that should be, you know, at a Motel 8. They should not be at Tinley Park. And this motherfucking guy, this Kelly Hansen guy, should not, by the way, he can sing. He's got a good voice. The guy can sing. But he's a fucking joke. So at the end, he comes out. They come out for the encore, and the camera's a close-up on him. And he's got the mic, and then he can't talk. He like ducks his head down, and then he starts crying. Like he looks up. He's like, you know, like I can't. Let me just say, what a gift it is to be in this band, man, and how overwhelmed I am by you guys following us through thick and thin for so many years. For 50-something years. Well, you haven't been in the band for 50-something years, you piece of shit. You've been in the band for 18. Oh, he's crying like I can't. It's our farewell tour. We've been, and you know, we have to go up against the young people. And we have to go up against the system, and we don't, and then again, he says, we don't lip sync. Nothing's on tape, nothing's recorded. We play our instruments. And we have to, and he's crying about how he has to battle the man in order to come out and play his. Shut the fuck up. And he's crying and he won't shut up. And then he's like, and that's when he did the hug thing. I want everybody to hug everybody. And he's crying, it's the farewell tour. I love these men so much. I love these guys. And during the acoustic set, by the way, it took him 20 minutes to introduce each dickhead on stage. You know, and they all had nicknames and shit. And then everybody did a solo. Like the keyboard guy, I don't even know, the keyboard guy was a dick. And he would do like a keyboard solo, and then like every time he'd finish like a flourish, he'd go, yeah, and then point at himself. I'm not kidding. He'd do a little solo, and then he'd point at the drummer, and the drummer would do a solo, and then the drummer would stand up with his sticks over his head going, acknowledge me. It was like Roman Reigns was, like these guys are like calling attention to themselves. I just did a solo, I'm 80, and I'm doing everything that, So anyway, so every rock bullshit, like rock and roll concert cliche, and this fucking Kelly Hansen guy, the most obnoxious, annoying, ridiculous parody of a lead singer frontman you could possibly make. This guy's a fucking joke. And the shit that was coming out of his mouth, he's crying, thank you so much, man. And then like when they finished, Hot Blooded, the concert's over, the motherfucker still won't shut up. Thank you so much for coming out, man. Thank you. And then they're like hugging on stage and they're bowing 15 times. They all put their arms around each other and bow. Get the fuck off the stage, man. Get out of here and go to a fucking Ramada Inn where you should be. Get the fuck out of here. So, now, I will say this. The song sounded great. These guys could play the songs. This Kelly Hansen, despite the fact that he's a fucking joke, he can sing. And he's been with the band for 18 years, so he knows the song. And these guys are journeyman musicians. They're idiots, and they've been in shitty hair metal bands, but they can play the songs, and they did. Now, besides the horrible banter and the cliches and the let's hug each other and all that bullshit that these guys do on stage, fucking ridiculous. The kind of shit that would normally, like I said, that would actually be much more comfortable at a fucking Jerry Lewis telethon. Where sincerity is out the fucking window. It's all a goddamn act. So, besides that, they play Urgent. Now, Urgent, which is a great fucking song. A great fucking song. A classic rock song. And when you think Urgent, what's the first thing you think of? I'll give you a minute. What's the first thing you think of when I say Urgent by Foreigner? What's the first thing you think of? I'll help you. The fucking saxophone solo, okay? That's the first thing you think of. The fucking saxophone playing, the saxophone solo that, by the way, was added late into that song originally. Okay, so I'm like, well, they got to do the saxophone solo. Which one of these fucking has-been hair metal dickheads who, hang out with Don Dokken on a regular basis are going to pull out the sax and do it? Oh, so but here's what they did. So they're playing Urgent, and he gets to the big sax solo. And this Kelly Hansen motherfucker says, get ready, everybody, like in the middle of the song. Because everybody knows the sax solo is coming. Because it's one of the greatest sax solos in music history. And maybe, clearly, maybe the best sax solo in a rock song. One of the, not the best, but one of the greatest sax solos of all time in a rock song. One of the most iconic, one of the most memorable. Everybody knows the sax solo in Urgent. And so he's like in the middle of the song, all right, everybody, get ready. Get ready for something revolutionary and different, as it leads into the sax solo. The sax solo comes in, and it's the keyboard jagoff runs down stage with a fucking keytar. So not only are keytars ridiculous, and not only were keytars ridiculous in the 80s, but they're even more fucking ridiculous in 2023, and this dickhead lead singer is like, get ready for something revolutionary and different. And then the sax solo starts, which should be a fucking saxophone, but it's some jagoff who looks like Nicolas Cage with long hair playing a keytar. So he does the sax solo with the keytar, and the band is like playing along, and then, like the lead singer's pointing at him, like, cheer for the keytar solo. Yeah, man. I'm like, fuck off. Are you kidding me? A keytar solo? In Urgent? You should, again, play the Ramada, motherfucker. Alright. So anyway, fuck Foreigner. Fuck these guys. It's not Foreigner. And if Mick Jones shows up, that's cool, because it's Mick Jones. And this guy, this Kelly Hansen, if you know this guy, if you've ever seen him, you can leave your comments here. He's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Like, parody, fucking laughable, insincere, rehearsed, crowd banter bullshit. Like, I was like, literally, as soon as he opened his mouth, the banter, like after the first song when he started talking, I'm like, oh god, this is going to be a long night. This guy's a fucking insincere sack of parody shit. And it just didn't stop, and it got worse. When he was crying at the end, on stage, fucking crying, I love these people, man. We're a real band, man. You're not even an original member of the fucking band. Shut up. All right. Loverboy kicked ass, though. Fucking Loverboy ruled. They're old, and Mike Reno's fat. They played all the hits. And they never went, yeah, we're playing our instruments, man. This isn't on tape. Shut the fuck up. They never once asked everybody to hug each other and like, hey, man, if you're over 50, shout it out, man, and then do jokes about being 40 and 50 and get the fuck. Mike Reno, man, he was happy, he was out there. He did a goddamn when they did Working for the Weekend. He did a Christopher Walken cowbell joke. He's like, hey, to the drummer. He's like, hey, and it's original drummer. He's like, hey, man, what does Christopher Walken say? And he goes, more cowbell. Yeah, and then ding, 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 bam, and then Working for the Weekend started. That's how you introduce a goddamn song. So Loverboy ruled. The fucking Foreigner, tribute band sucked. I mean, they didn't suck because the songs sounded good because they're a great tribute band. But this Kelly Hansen guy, fuck this guy. All right. Anyway, yeah, rock cliches, man. They're hilarious. When you go to a concert oh my god, I remember seeing Goo Goo Dolls. I went to go see Goo Goo Dolls. Goo Goo Dolls because my favorite band, Buffalo Tom, was opening for Goo Goo Dolls. Okay. And so we went, and I left after 4 songs of the Goo Goo Dolls. I fucking left because they, how the cliche, like they're rocking so hard that they actually have to run on stage. I love that. I love that when fucking rock bands, I'm gonna rock so hard I have to run on stage. Where are you going? You're gonna fall off the fucking stage. Run on stage. And I remember the bass player was barefoot, and I was told that they had to put like a thick plastic lining. They had to line the entire stage, thick plastic, because this bass player liked to play barefoot. So he's running around barefoot, and then the lead singer, whatever, is Johnny Resnick. Yeah, he's like, we're gonna rock so hard, And they did the fucking guitar spin with the guitar. They didn't do that. Foreigner didn't do that. The Foreigner tribute band or Journey didn't do that. Or Journey, Loverboy didn't do that because they can't. If these guys are 70, if they do that guitar thing, their neck's gonna break and they're gonna fall down. Break an arm, trying to do the guitar flip, which is... Anyway, the Goo Goo Dolls did that. So anyway, yeah. Running on stage, and yeah, man, yeah, we're real. We don't... Get the fuck out of here. So, alright. I had a great time, though. And the Foreigner songs sounded good. The tribute band did a fantastic job. The imitation Foreigner did a fantastic job sounding good. And it was great to reunite with some friends. We had a nice night. We got rained on a little bit, but it was great. So overall, it was a great night. Loverboy, clearly the fucking highlight. Loverboy ruled, and Kelly Hansen is the most ridiculous fucking lead singer, frontman ever. Like, seriously. Even people, I was with some people who are very mild-mannered. At one point, they're like, I'm going to punch this guy right in the mouth. Will this guy just shut the fuck up and start a song? It was ridiculous. And I was with people who are much calmer than I am, and much more rational than I am, because you know me. If you watch these videos, I scream a lot, and I fuck this and fuck that, But these people don't do that, and they got to the point. This idiot, this Kelly Hansen guy, got them to the point where they were like, shut the fuck up and sing a song, you dickhead. Anyway, I hope the Shriners made some money. I don't know. All right, see you later.